So
we're going to do it.
we're going to do it.
Do you want to give a little intro? Maybe some people don't know exactly who Brock
Oh,
is.
yes, I'd love to. Okay, hi, everyone. I'm Sarah. I don't know if I know all of you, but welcome. Thank you for showing up today. I have been following Brock on Instagram now for some time, and he is like the king of reels. And he has so many good tips that he just does in his reels. And I've had a conversation with him on the phone and kind of told him a little bit about our business, how we use social media to enhance and attract our social retail business. And he is going to be combining 2 trainings today to kind of help direct us and like where we need to be. And I gave him the heads up that we kind of all have a little bit of understanding of how reels work. So he's going to kind of dive deep with us. And I'm just excited to see what he has to offer. I think this is a huge person for us to take lessons from and just see what he can show us. It will help grow our business. He has knowledge that I don't think we all have yet on Instagram. He has like the inside scoop. So that's pretty much it. He's just the bomb. And I'm pretty obsessed with him. He's awesome.
His mom, right? A lot of people know his mom.
Oh yeah. So the backstory is when I was in high school, I was on a dance team. It ended. My mom's like, you got to find something because we got to keep you busy. And so at 24 hours in Aliso Viejo, California, his mom was teaching Fire at 4:30s, and I took her class, and I think Brock was probably like 7 or 8 at the time. And Shailene Johnson, who she blew up, she's huge now, and he's kind of followed her footsteps. So that's our backstory.
If you are not muted, please mute yourself upon entry. Hi, guys. I think I saw Brock jump in here. Hi, Brock. We were just
I'm here.
Getting the official intro with Sarah. Nice to meet you. I'm Katie.
Nice to meet you, Katie.
Thank you so much. All right, Sarah.
All right, Brock, I was just kind of giving them a little scoop on you and like my journey following you on Instagram. I called you the king of reels because that's what you are to me. And I told them that we had a conversation kind of about like what our business is and that we have an understanding of how reels work and how you were going to combine a couple trainings and just kind of dive in. So I'm just going to let you take it away. And then if we had some questions at the end, they can put them in the chat and you can answer the ones that we have time for, if that will work.
Totally. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here this morning. I appreciate everyone having a little patience with me as I had to restart my computer. And also, to be totally honest, if anyone sees my face is bright red or I am out of breath right now, I was at the gym earlier. And then I was like, oh, I'll run home for this training. Like I live a mile from the gym, so I'll just like run home and then we'll get to do this training. I get all the way home and I realize I left my keys at the gym with my fiance. So I had no way to get in. So then I had to sprint all the way back to the gym, grab the keys from her, sprint all the way back here. And then I get up here into our apartment and my computer has to restart because of course, whatever can go wrong will go wrong. So then I'm restarting my computer. Oh, and by the way, this is our last day in this apartment. We're literally moving out. This room is completely empty right now. We're moving out. But all of that to say, we're here and we're making it happen. Posted is better than perfect. Done is better than perfect. And I think what matters most is value, right? And so for the next hour, I'm going to try to provide you with as much value as I possibly can. My background might not be the prettiest. My face, my hair and makeup might not be done this morning, but I'm going to try to provide you with as much value as I possibly can. And we're going to talk about reels today. Reels are going to be our focus, and not just reels, but I'm also going to talk to you at the end about how I create my reels, and more specifically, how I can create so many reels in such a short amount of time. I can usually, and this isn't to brag or boast, this is just to set up where we're headed today. I can usually make about 20 reels in an hour, which might sound mind-blowing to you, but that's 3 weeks worth of content, assuming you're posting every day. 3 weeks worth of content in an hour. Also, to be totally honest with you, this morning, I woke up, I looked at my phone, and I posted a reel that I recorded 3 weeks ago when I was on vacation in Alaska. I haven't recorded a reel in 3 weeks, yet I've still been posting 1 or 2 reels every single day. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. And I know that sounds crazy. I know this sounds mind-blowing, but by the end of this training today, you're going to understand how that's possible for you. And then also, like Sarah said, I'll save some time for Q&A at the end, because I know Instagram is the beast, and there's always going to be a million questions related to Instagram. So I have some slides prepared. I'll get these shared up. I'll get that all queued up. Oh, and by the way, while I'm getting this set up, I do have my eyes on the chat the entire time. So if you have a question that is pertaining to something that we're currently talking about, go ahead and fire it away. If you have a question that's off topic, like let's say we're talking about reels and you have a question about stories, that's something that I would recommend saving till the end. But using reels to dominate on Instagram, let's talk about it. First of all, why are reels so effective? Why are they so powerful? And just to give you an example of their power, my dog's Instagram account, she's right outside that door right now. My dog's Instagram account grew by 180,000 followers in 2 months purely because of reels. She hardly posts stories. She posts no other kinds of posts on her account. We only post reels on her account, 180,000 followers in 2 months. My account, since April 1st of last year, I've grown by 1,000 followers per day. Every single day since April 1st, 2021, 1,000 followers per day. And that's because of reels. It's sustained growth. Sustained growth. They're effective. Sure, you can have viral posts and blow up with one post, but really, we want sustained growth, right? We want growth that lasts. We don't want one big home run and then nothing else. We want to consistently get on base. We want to consistently win. We want to consistently grow. And that's really what reels can provide. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Why are they so effective in the first place? Well, for one, they're Instagram's newest and favorite content. You know, when someone brings home a new puppy or they give birth to their child and nothing but pictures and videos of that new puppy, nothing but pictures and videos of that new child, like you're just getting spammed over and over and over again on Facebook with, hey, here's the new puppy, here's the new car, here's the new baby. It's because Instagram's newest thing is Reels. That's one of the reasons that they're so effective. Reels are their baby. Reels are their new car that they just drove off the lot. They are their favorite content right now. And in fact, Instagram has said that for the rest of this year, Reels are going to continue to be their focus on the platform. The second reason why they are so effective is because they're shown to more people. We all struggle, every one of us, whether you're my dog, whether you're myself, or whether you're watching this training right now, we all struggle to get our content seen. It feels like not enough people are seeing our content. We make a post and it doesn't reach enough people. We have 4,000 followers, but the post only reaches like 1,000 people. Reels, on the other hand, are shown to more people consistently compared to all other kinds of posts on Instagram. Reels are shown to more people. Number 3, they have the longest top, TOP. If you're taking notes, you can write this down. TOP stands for time on platform. What that means is Reels keep people on Instagram for longer. Whether you are creating and posting your reel, or you're just consuming other people's reels and watching reels, Reels keep people on Instagram for longer. And I'll let you in on a little secret that's important to keep in mind. Instagram is a business, right? Instagram has to make money just like any other business has to make money. And Instagram makes more money if we all spend more time on Instagram. So they want to reward you for keeping people on Instagram for longer. Time on platform, that's what Reels provide. And then finally, Reels have the longest shelf life. So like I said earlier, we're moving out of this apartment right now. We were clearing out our pantry the other day. And it's crazy because some things that we bought a week ago have already expired. And yet there's jars and cans in there that are 3 years old. And we're going to take with us on the move because they haven't expired yet. They have a much longer shelf life. Usually when you post on Instagram, a day or two later, it's crickets, right? Like 24 to 48 hours after you post, you're not really getting very many more likes, not that many more views. It's pretty much done. The shelf life has expired. But let me know in the chat, answer me this. Have you ever watched a YouTube video and at some point in the video, you've realized, whoa, this video is like 3 years old, or this video is from last year, or this video is a decade old, it's 10 years old. Let me know in the chat if that's ever happened to you. That happened to me last night. I was scrolling through YouTube, watching videos, and I'm like, whoa, this video is from 2012. That happens all the time. YouTube has a very long shelf life. That's one of the real benefits of YouTube. Instagram in the past hasn't had this shelf life until now, until Reels. Reels have a much longer shelf life. Reels can continue to get views. They can continue to get engagement. They can help you grow your following. They can even go viral, not just days or weeks, but months, or we've even seen years after they were posted. We've literally seen people post a reel, and over 365 days later, it's still getting views and engagement and helping them grow their following. They have the longest shelf life. And what that means for you is more bang for your buck. It sucks to put in so much work into one post, and then like 24 hours later, it's gone, it's crickets, no one's ever gonna see it again, it's buried. Reels, on the other hand, they can continue to get appreciated and last for longer. So that's why Reels are so effective. But ultimately, why does all this matter? Why does getting more views? Why does engagement? Why does all of those things matter? Why does it matter? It matters ultimately because we are all business owners. We're entrepreneurs. We're solopreneurs. And views can turn to followers, and followers can turn to customers. In its simplest form, that's the flow. People view your reel, they start following you, and then eventually down the line, they become customers. And I think sometimes we overcomplicate social media because we start thinking about algorithms, we start thinking about engagement, we start thinking about views and reels and stories and Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. We overcomplicate things, especially when it comes to doing business online. We overcomplicate things. Let's simplify it. If you live in a small town, let's just imagine you live in a small town and there's a bike shop, a bicycle shop in your small town. How does that bicycle shop sell more bikes? Well, three things have to happen, right? They have to have more people viewing the bike shop, like walking by the front doors. They have to have more visibility. If the bike shop is tucked away down a back alley, no one's going to find it. It's like being a street performer on a cul-de-sac. With no traffic and no views, you're never going to grow your business. So first of all, they have to get more views, more people walking by their business. And then it makes sense that the second thing that has to happen for that bike shop is people have to come inside, right? They have to get enticed. They have to peek at some of the bikes through the window, come inside, start having a conversation with the staff, start building trust. They got to, wheel the bike around the shop a little bit. That's the second step. And the third step is they become a customer. They roll their bike up to the cash register and they check out. They pay for that bike. It's the same thing on social media. We have to have the views, the people walking by, the people taking a peek at our profile. Then they have to start following us, start consuming our content, start watching our stories, and ultimately building trust in us. And then they become customers down the line. But it all starts with views. It all starts with getting that engagement, getting more reach, getting discovered by your potential clients or customers. That's where it all begins. And that's what Reels provide. That's really what they provide. So with that being said, I have 4 musts for you. Yeah, 4 musts for your reel. These are the Reels must-haves, the things you must have for your Reels. And I should say, before I even share these, I'm always very hesitant to say must or always or it's 100%. But these things are as close to 100% as you can get, right? These things I'm about to share with you, they're as close to foolproof, as close to mandatory as I can make them. All right, so the first one is Reels must be related to your niche. Now, we don't have time to do an entire hour-long training explaining what niche is, why it's so important, how to find it, how to pick your niche. We don't have time to go in depth onto that, but your Reels must be related to your niche. And in its simplest form, niche is basically who are you posting for, also known as like, who are you serving? Who is your ideal client, your ideal customer? Who is your ideal lead or team member? Who is that person? Their demographics, who are they? And then what are you posting about? So for example, your group might be beginner outdoors people, like people who are new to the outdoorsy world, new to the extreme sports lifestyle. And the way you're posting or the thing you're helping them with is beginner rock climbing tips. So who is that group and how are you helping them? How are you serving? Or just what are you posting for them? What are you providing for them. That's what your niche is. And here's why every single one of your reels needs to be related to your niche. If you post a reel that isn't related, let's say it's just like some funny, goofy reel. Let's say it was like your dog was being cute, but your niche has nothing to do with your dog, and you post it. One of two things is going to happen. Either number one, a bunch of people are going to unfollow you and they're not going to engage with that post, which is a bummer, right? Because people followed you for, let's say rock climbing tips. Let's go with that example. People followed you for rock climbing tips, but now you're posting a video of your dog. Well, they're going to unfollow you because that's not what they signed up for, or they're just not going to engage with that post because they're like, this isn't why I followed this person. I followed this person for stock advice, and now they're teaching me about gardening. So that's the first thing that can happen. And that's a bummer. The second thing that can happen is actually much worse. And on face value and when I say it on paper, it sounds much better, but it's actually much worse. And that's the second option, is that the post does well. The post goes viral. So your niche is hair care. You're helping people, with their hair care products. But you make a post about your kid and the funny thing they did after they came home from their first day of school. And that goes viral and that takes off. Well, now a bunch of people are following you and they're engaging with your content because they want more videos of your funny child and the funny things your kid does. But that has nothing to do with your business. That has nothing to do with your niche. That has nothing to do with what you sell. And so on face value, you're like, yeah, I got a couple thousand views. I got a bunch of new followers. But those aren't ideal followers. Those aren't followers who are going to become a part of your business. Those aren't followers who are going to ever become clients or customers. So that's why I say every single one of your reels needs to be related to your niche. All right, the second thing for your reels is they must be shared to your feed. Now, right before you post your reel, the very last step before posting, you'll see right below where you write the caption, there's a little tiny on-off switch that says also share to feed. For most of us, that's going to be automatically selected to yes, leave it there. It should be shared to your feed. Your reel should be shared to your feed. And basically what that means is when you post your reel, your followers are going to see it. Now, once we all have that written down, once we all are on the same page about that, I need to explain what this asterisk is for. That asterisk is for if you are someone who has super low engagement, your followers are not paying attention to your posts anymore. They're hardly seeing them. And even when they are, they're not engaging. You have critically low amount of likes. You're not getting very many comments, if any. If you have critically low engagement, I would recommend testing, not sharing it to your feed. Just as a test, try this out. This is not something that's going to foolproof 100% work for everyone. But if you have critically low engagement and you're sharing to your feed, well, then you're showing your reels to people who aren't going to engage. And that makes sense, right? If you are consistently sharing to your feed, but your followers aren't engaged in the first place, well, then they're not going to engage with your reel. And what happens then is Instagram's like, hey, no one's engaging with this reel. It must not be a very good one. Let's not show it to anyone else. Let's make sure that we bury this and that no one else sees this. But if you test, I'm just saying test, not sharing it to your feed, and then Instagram shows it to people who don't know you. Maybe they don't follow you. Maybe they don't have that past experience of not engaging with you. And then they do engage with the reel and they do like it and they do comment. Well, then the reel can reach more people. Now, when you share to your feed, it will automatically share to your reels page as well. And I want to stop for a second and just make sure that this is clear. When you press also share to feed, it will show up to non-followers and to your followers. So when you say also share to feed, it shows up in the reels page and to your followers. When you turn off the also share to feed button, it will show up to some of your followers, but it will mostly only show up to non-followers, people who are looking at the reels page. So that's the difference there. But start by always sharing it to the feed. And if you have really, really low engagement, then you can test only sharing it to the reels page and not also sharing it to the feed. All right, number 3, this one is an absolute must. This one, I'm not going to debate or mince words about it. It needs to be closed captioned. It needs to, even if you just type it out, Instagram does offer a sticker now that can automatically add closed captions to your videos. That's really helpful if you're doing a spoken reel, if you're recording yourself speaking or teaching something, but always add closed captions. The vast majority of people, over 80% of people, watch Instagram on mute. There's also a large community on Instagram who is deaf or hard of hearing. You need to be inclusive of all of them. You need to make your content accessible to everyone. Think about the mom who's rocking the baby to sleep while watching your content. If your reels don't have any text on them, and your reels, when they click on them, are just, when you are muted, people don't know what's going on. They're lost and they're just going to keep on scrolling. If you add closed captions, they can consume your content even when you are muted. So make sure you add those closed captions. Make sure that you type it out at the very least so that people know what's going on. And then number 4 is never deleted. Never delete your reel unless it glitches. If the text glitches, if the audio gets deleted, if the whole screen goes blank for some reason, delete it. Go ahead, because no one can consume it anyways at that point. I mean, imagine if right now this video muted and then the screen went blank. Well, you can't consume the content. If you can't consume the content, you might as well delete it. But most of us, that's not the reason we're deleting our reels. Most people who I talk to, they delete their reels because they didn't get enough views. They didn't perform up to your expectations. Your ego is feeling a little bruised because you only got 2 likes. Just leave it. Just leave your reel. You don't know if that's the reel that's going to change someone's life. You don't know if that's the reel that's going to take off and go viral 3 months from now and change your life. What if that reel that you were going to delete, what if you just leave it and then 4 months from now, it starts picking up views and suddenly it's at 4 million views and suddenly you're gaining thousands of followers. Suddenly your business is blowing up. Suddenly you're getting team members and clients and leads and customers hand over fist all day long. Please just leave it. It happens all the time. And oftentimes it's the ones that do really poorly at first that end up doing well later on. So please just leave them. Don't delete them. Don't let your ego win. Just leave it there. Just leave the reel alone. All right. So these are the musts. If you are brand new to reels, if you are just day one, maybe you've never posted a reel or you've only posted a few, focus on these 4. Let's start with these 4. If you're ready to take your reels to the next level, I can share with you my reels tips. Now, these tips I'm about to share, these are not mandatory. These are not necessary. These are not things that you need to do every single time, but these are reels to kick it up a notch, right? These are reels to take, or these are tips, I should say, to take your reels from not just beginner to intermediate, but intermediate to pro. If you are still in that beginner phase, don't jump over intermediate. Don't jump from beginner to pro, because you're going to write down these tips right now and you're going to be really confused and lost because you've never even posted a reel before. So please, if you're in the beginner phase, focus on these 4 tips. And if you're on the intermediate phase and you're ready to take them to the next level, well, then these next tips I'm about to share with you are going to help you do that. I think it's 7 tips. So 7 tips, get ready to write these down. The first tip that I recommend is using 2 to 4 pieces of text. Now, when I say pieces of text, I just mean those little text bubbles that you can see right there on the screen. What we found is the most viral reels that are in the educational space or that are from entrepreneurs and business owners, they have between 2 and 4 pieces of text. Now, if you have a reel that has 5 pieces of text, it could still blow up. If you have a reel that only has 1 piece of text, you can still post it. But generally speaking, the ones that perform the best have between 2 and 4 pieces of text. All right. Next, use sounds on your reels. If you're using a trending audio or you're using a sound bite or a snippet from a movie or something, use sounds that have between 100 and 1,000 other videos. Now, again, these tips that I'm sharing right now, they might be flying over your head if you've never posted a reel before. But if you have experience with reels, these will start to make sense. So use sounds between 100 and 1,000 other videos. And this is what that looks like. Whenever you tap on any sound or audio on Instagram, there will be a little faint number down below the name of the audio. And that number will say 365 reels, 27 reels, 14,000 reels. And that basically is just telling you how many other reels have been created using this audio already. The reason I recommend between 100 and 1,000 is that's usually a good range where the sound is gaining popularity. It might be going viral soon. It might be trending soon, but it's not overdone yet. It's not something that is just flooding the feed and people are over. It's not a trend from 3 months ago. It's a trend that's coming soon. I need to stop myself though. I want you to not focus on finding trending audios. Please nod if you can hear and you understand what I'm saying. Do not focus on finding trending audios. Slapping trending audios on top of bad content is like putting lipstick on a pig. You can't just find trending audios and that's the solution to all of your problems. That's the honest truth. People stress about trending audios nowadays the same way they used to stress about hashtags. We're going to talk about hashtags in just a minute. Hashtags are not the solution to your problems, and neither are trending audios. The bottom line, the honest truth is, if you find an audio that you like, use it. If you find an audio that works for you, use it. I don't care if it has 17 million views and everyone on the planet has already made that video. I don't care if your grandma knows that sound because it's so popular. Use the audio if you like it. I'd much rather have you creating content than stressing over, oh, this sound has 1,002 uses. That's outside of the range Brock gave me. I can't use it. Please just use the audio. All right. Tip number 3 for your reels is to use transitions, effects, and movement. Again, not necessary, not mandatory, but it can be beneficial. You don't have to dance. You don't have to point and lip sync. You don't have to do the fancy transitions, but if you want to, go for it. If you have a freak flag, let it fly. You can do that on your reels. And the more movement and effects and transitions you incorporate, usually the better your reels will do. But again, remember, these are not mandatory. These are just tips that can benefit you. Number 4, create a hook in the first 3 seconds, the beginning of your reel. This tip specifically applies to those reels where you are not using someone else's sound. If you're using a sound clip from a movie, well, you have to stick to the sound clip. You don't get to customize what's in those first 3 seconds, right? You're using a clip that already exists. But if you're recording your own video, if you're making your own reel, if you're using your own audio, create a hook in the first 3 seconds. And I have a couple examples for you right here of what that might look like. So this one was from my mom. She just said, this video is for blank. And that's a really great hook, a really great phrase to use. And you can write that down or screenshot it if you need to at the beginning of your reels. This video is for blank. This video is for women. This video is for moms of 4. This video is for people with low engagement. This video is for people struggling to grow on Instagram. When you say this video is for, and then you insert a group, well, then guess what? That group's going to start paying attention. That group's like, oh, even if they have no interest in what you're saying, at least they're going to keep listening for a few seconds because they're like, oh, that's me. Oh, they just said my name. They just said my group. I'm going to start listening. This might help me. The second hook example that I have for you is just, here's how to blank. This is called telling them what you're going to tell them. Tell them what you're going to tell them. Here's how to make a GIF. Here's how to increase your engagement on Instagram. Here's how to defrizz your hair in a humid environment, whatever that thing is that you're about to show people how to do, just tell them what you're going to tell them. Here's how to. And then this last one is kind of a 2-in-1, but it's the question, have you ever, and then whatever it is, have you ever struggled to braid your hair in the rain? Have you ever struggled to get up in the morning? Have you ever struggled to be confident on a date, whatever that thing is? And then this phrase right here, you can write it down, might be the most powerful phrase in video. Keep watching. Keep watching. Watch till the end. Stick around. Keep watching. Earlier, I briefly mentioned my dog's Instagram account. She grew by, like I said, like 180,000 followers in like 2 or 3 months. One of the biggest things, strategies, tips, hacks that we learned from her account is just the use of this phrase, keep watching. And the great thing about keep watching is you don't even have to say it. You can just be posting a reel, recording your content, and there's just a little piece of text right here that just says, keep watching. And when people see that, they keep watching. When there's that little tiny phrase, keep watching or watch till the end, people stick around because someone told them to. That's the bottom line, is people are mindlessly consuming. They're just scrolling and scrolling. They're not actively, consciously doing very much. They're just mindlessly scrolling. And you told them to keep watching, they're going to keep watching. So just that little phrase can help people stick around with your video for longer. Watch the whole thing. That then increases their likelihood of engaging with it, of liking it, of commenting on it, of sharing it. Just that little tiny phrase, keep watching, can make a huge difference on your videos. All right. Tip number 5 now, after create a hook in the first 3 seconds, tip number 5 is to use the second to last font. Let me know in the chat right now if you've ever had your text glitch on a reel. You posted your reel and then you've gone and looked at the text and it was like blurry or fuzzy, or it just got deleted altogether. So annoying. Like Erica finished that text. Erica replied before I even finished my sentence. Erica said, oh my gosh, yes, that's so annoying. Yes, it's happened to so many of us. Happens all the time on Instagram. But when you use the second to last font, that font is the least likely one to glitch. Here's what I mean by that. That font right there, Instagram offers you like 10 different font options. Use that one. It's also the easiest to read. And when people can't read your content, how are they going to engage with it? Imagine I hand you a book and you can't read the words of the book. You're going to get through the first page and you're going to throw the book away. You have to make your text easy to read. I see people using the fancy italicized Times New Roman font, or they use the cursive font with a glowing background, or they use the font that looks handwritten. I know they're cute. I know they're fun, but stick with this font. This font is literally called the simple font. That's the name of this font. It's called the simple font. It's all caps. There's no special little, characters or symbols or squiggly lines anywhere. It's easy to read. And also, for whatever reason, it's least likely to glitch. Least likely to glitch. So just use that font from now on. Use that font from now on. And then one last little bonus tip here. And this one I don't even have in the slides. I just wanted to share this one with you because I recently shared this on my Instagram and it got a really great response from people because they had no idea. Stop aligning your text center. Align your text to the left. There's a reason why when we read a newspaper or we read a book, it's not aligned center. And that's because when things are aligned center, your eyes have to jump around to find the beginning of every line. So instead of aligning your text center, align your text to the left, and it will be much easier to read and thus significantly increase your engagement. So align your text to the left. Now, if something is a headline, that can be aligned center. Even newspapers do that. You can align a headline to the center. But if you're typing out text for your reels, or this can even extend outside of your reels, if you're typing text that needs to be read and it's more than like 2 lines, align it to the left. It'll be much, much easier to read, and that will help with your engagement. All right, tip number 6 for your reels. This is 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6. Share your reel to your story after posting. And you know what? I think I should add this tip to the musts. I think I should change this around. I think I need to change my slides and put this on the musts. Share your reel to your story. And that's because stories, views count. If someone watches your reel that you have shared to your story, they watch it on your story, that view counts. And someone else, same day. Yeah, same day, actually immediately. Immediately after posting your reel, share it to your story because stories views count. And guess what? Story views count from your audience in their stories as well. So what that means is if I post a reel and Sarah's like, oh, this is so good, I'm going to share it to my story. Well, guess what? Anyone who views Sarah's story, that view counts on my reel. They don't have to click on it. They don't have to watch the entire thing. They don't have to open it up. They don't have to do anything. Just for the fact that it's on her story and her story got 1,000 views, that's 1,000 extra views for my reel. Even if it's longer than 15 seconds, even if it isn't clicked on, the view still counts. And so that's why you should always share your reel to your story. And then if you haven't figured it out already, the bonus tip is to encourage your audience to share your reel to their story as well. That's a real growth hack. If you can get your followers to start sharing your reel to their story, that's multiplying the number of views you have on your reel. So yes, always share your reel to your story and share it as soon as you can. And then one last tip before we move off of this topic, let me know in the chat, and it's okay if you've done this, but let me know in the chat if you've ever seen, I won't make you call yourself out, if you've ever seen someone who shares their reel to their story and they put a big sticker over the top of it that says new post or new reel or check this out, right? Or they cover it up with a picture, right? You don't have to call yourself out on this, but please don't ever do that again. Please don't do that. Does the view still count even if it's covered up? Yes. Can someone still click on it even if it's covered up? Yeah, sure. But here's the problem with that. And this is bigger than Instagram. Let's pause for a second. This is bigger than Instagram. When you share your reel to your story, or you share any post to your story, and you completely cover it up, you are prioritizing serving the algorithm rather than serving your followers. You're saying, I value the clicks more than I value the service. I value the views more than I value teaching, serving, sharing. When you completely cover up your post, you might get some more clicks than if you didn't, because people are curious. People are like, well, what is this? Click. But ultimately, you're serving the algorithm rather than serving them. You're saying, listen, I don't want you to actually see this and learn from it and gain the knowledge. I don't want you to actually feel inspired by this. I don't want you to actually, laugh at this content. I just want you to click on it because all I care about is the algorithm. And a lot of people have been doing that. I've seen a lot of people teaching this. And listen, I've done it myself sometimes, but when we know better, we do better. When we know better, we do better. And so I just wanted to pause for a second and talk about that. So from now on, when you're sharing your posts, don't cover them up. Don't hide them behind a sticker. Just share them to your story and encourage people to click on them. Give people a reason to click on them. All right. So share the story. That's tip number 6. Tip number 7 for my Reels tips is put a CTA in the video. I want to see if anyone in the chat knows what CTA stands for. CTA, call to action. Cool. I'm glad everyone's on the same page about that. If you have no idea, CTA stands for call to action. And a call to action is basically just telling people what you want them to do. It's telling people what you want them to do with your content. And the more specific and explicit you can be, the better. Right now, if you can hear the words that I'm saying, and you have learned something, or you've gotten some value out of this training, type the letter G, capital G, type the letter G in the chat right now. That's an explicit and simple call to action. I didn't tell you to type 3 sentences about the biggest lesson you've learned in this training so far. I didn't tell you to just comment in the chat. I gave you specific, clear instructions. Comment the letter capital G, and I told you why. That's a really big bonus. I didn't just say comment G in the chat. Comment G in the chat if, and then I told you why. So put a call to action in your content, and specifically the pro tip here is to put it in the actual video. Because most of the time, I hate to break it to you, people aren't reading your full caption. They're not getting down to the last line of your caption where you're like, comment below. I'm glad you used a call to action. Great first step, but let's put it in the video, right? I've been talking this whole time. Imagine if on the screen somewhere, as I had these slides up, imagine if there was like a little text down here in the bottom right that was like, comment the letter G. You're not going to see that. You're focused on the video. you might be a little bit reading the text. Whoa, technical difficulties. And ultimately, you are, I want to make sure you can still hear me here. Sorry about that. Yeah. Ultimately, you're watching the video. And that's what we're all doing on social media. That's what we're all doing on Instagram. So put the call to action in the video itself. Put those CTA in the video. Even if it's just a piece of text on the screen, put the CTA in the video itself. Cool. And here's an example of what that might look like. Just, I'll play this video for you. I added it at the very, very end. And actually, I'm going to make sure that my sound is enabled when I share my screen right now. But at the end of this reel, you'll see it's very, very simple. I added a little call to action in the video just so you can see what this looks like. And I would love to get to know more about you. So please tell me about yourself in the comments. Here's some simple. I would love to get to know more about you. So that's the reason why. And then I said, tell me about yourself in the comments. Tell me about yourself in the comments. Very simple, very direct. And also, I only asked for one thing. I didn't say, I'd love to get to know more about you. So comment below and then share this reel. And then don't forget to hit save and double tap along the way. Give one specific call to action. All right. Those are the 7 tips. If you want to take a screenshot, if you missed any of them, you can write them down right now. Put a CTA in the video. Those are the 7 tips. You can go ahead and take a picture. Now, I know there are going to be a lot of questions about Reels. So the next few slides that I have prepared for you are the questions that I know we're going to get in Q&A. So I might as well answer them with some slides right now before we even get to the Q&A. All right, the first one is captions, right? We just started talking about them. Captions, long or short, which is better? Let me know in the chat which one you think is better, long or short, long or short. A lot of people saying short, short and fast. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're long or short. What matters is, will people read them? That's what matters. And I think that's why so many of you said short, because you know that if they're shorter, they're more likely to be read. And that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. If they're shorter, they're more likely to be consumed in full. Studies have shown that a very, very small percentage of people regularly read through the entire caption. The vast majority of people on Instagram rarely, if ever, read through your entire caption. So, knowing that, it might be beneficial to stick with short captions, but everyone's different. And that's something that I think we're going to talk a little bit more about in a second, but it's something you need to understand when it comes to Instagram and all of social media. We're all different. We all have different audiences, and we all have different niches. So if I think about someone like a food blogger, a recipe blogger, they need long captions because they need to write out the ingredients and the step-by-step process of making their recipe. But for some other people, shorter captions might be more effective. The ultimate question you need to ask yourself, the ultimate question you need to answer is, will people read them? All right. Now let's talk about hashtags. Hashtags on Reels. Hashtags on Reels. First, I need to say this. Hashtags in general are nowhere near as effective as they once were. Back in 2016 and 2017, hashtags were very effective. They were a great way to grow on Instagram. And people, I would even say that they were one of like the top 2 or 3 ways to grow on Instagram for years. They were effective. People sold courses on them. There's a million different hashtag apps out there. Unfortunately, the game has changed. Hashtags are just nowhere near as effective as they once were. Now, maybe you're listening right now and you're like, what? I get great reach from hashtags. My hashtags are crushing it. They help me grow every day. And if that's you, congratulations. You've struck it rich. You found the Holy Grail. Keep rolling with it. Don't let me stop you. But, and I'm not trying to stop anyone actually. What I am saying is, just don't focus on them. Don't focus on hashtags. Don't spend hours researching your hashtags. Don't waste any time or money purchasing a hashtag app or watching another hashtag course. Focus on improving your content, posting more content, practicing your reels. Focus on engaging with your audience. Heck, focus on putting your phone down and spending time with your family. Don't focus on researching hashtags. Now, with all of that being said, now that you understand how hashtags work nowadays, hashtags on Reels. They can help. Hashtags can help you. Just like I was saying a minute ago, they can help you. And I'm sure there's someone watching right now who their hashtags are working for them. And that's awesome. Keep going. Hashtags can help. They're not going to hurt you, but they're not necessary. That's really the bottom line. They're not necessary for success. To be totally honest, I don't think I've used a hashtag in like 7 months. I don't use hashtags anymore. Hashtags, they can help, but they're not necessary. I just was over stressing about them and trying to research them and remember to post them and use them. I was over it. So I stopped using them and I started focusing more on my content and on other things. All right, next Q&A question that always comes up is, what's the best time to post? What's the best time to post? All right, you can write this down. The best time to post your hashtags is the third Wednesday of every January, right after a full moon at 3:17 a.m. Please write that down. Set your alarms. That's the best time. No, like I said earlier, every audience is different. Every person is different. There is no one best time to post. And any expert or any blog that tells you that there is a best time to post is full of it. Or they're reporting to you inaccurate data. They're reporting to you just general trends. Hey, generally, everyone, all 1 billion people on Instagram are most active at this time. Well, not everyone on Instagram follows you, nor are you trying to get in front of everyone on Instagram. You're trying to get in front of your specific lead or client or customer. So the best time to post is likely different for every audience. There is no universal best time. So how do you find your best time? Because there is a your best time to post. First of all, you have to test different times to find the sweet spot. And all that means is you don't need to do some scientific research on this. You don't need to follow the scientific method, but for a week or so, post in the morning. And then the next week, post in the afternoon. And then the next week, post in the evening. And then the next week, post around lunchtime. And just see which ones do best. Oh, hey, I noticed that every day at 9 p.m., when I post that late in the day, my posts do great. Well, maybe it's because your audience is a bunch of young moms who put their kids down and then they finally get on social media for the first time all day. For me, my posts do best at 6 in the morning, which sucks for me because that means I got to wake up and I got to post. But I've learned that my sweet spot is around 6 or 7 in the morning. So test to find different times, find your sweet spot. And then here's the really key point. This is the bonus tip. Once you find that sweet spot, stick to it. Post at approximately that time every single day. That helps your audience know when to expect content from you. Your followers will start to learn to expect, hey, every day when I log in during my lunch break, I see a post. And also, the algorithm will learn that that's when you post. The algorithm will learn that, hey, every day at 3 p.m. approximately, there's a new post from Sarah. So we should start showing that or showing her posts to more people at 3 p.m. every day. So once you find that sweet spot, stick to it. And this comes directly from Instagram staff. Directly from Instagram staff, they've told us that when you post at approximately the same time, it helps the algorithm learn how to better show your content to more people, how to make sure that more people see your content. Now, I need to talk about this topic for a minute. I need to talk about going viral. I need to talk about blowing up and going viral. It's awesome, right? I don't want you to focus on that word. I don't want you to focus on viral. Instead, I don't even want you to use the word viral. I want you to use VFM, viral for me. Viral for me. Here's what viral for me means. It means focus on yourself. Focus on your own content. Focus on your own interactions, engagement, and views. Focus on improving those things. Listen, when you're driving a car, you can peek at the lanes next to you. You can check your blind spots. You can look around a little bit. But if you're focused on the lane to your left, you're going to start drifting to the left and then you're going to crash. My point is, focus on your lane and stay in your lane. Comparison is the thief of joy. Don't compare your numbers to someone else. I made a post about this very topic this morning, and I was blown away to see the difference in some of the comments. Some people were like, I only got 9,000 views on my most viewed video. And then other people are like, I got 300 views on a video. That's a fraction of what the other person, but one person's like, I only got 9,000. And the other person's like, I got 300. I usually get 180 and I got 300. Or I see some people who were commenting, they were like, I got 270,000 views, which I guess isn't that viral compared to some of the other people in the comments. I'm like, you got 270,000 views. That's more people attend NFL football games. That's amazing. Don't diminish your results. Don't minimize your numbers. Even if you get 30 views on a reel, that's enough to fill a classroom. That's enough to fill an entire class. There's 100 people watching right now live. 100 people are live on Zoom right now. If you got 100 views on a reel, that's freaking awesome. That's amazing. Don't diminish or compare your views or your results to someone else. Focus on improving your own. Hey, I usually get 180. In this video, I got 230. I must have done something different. It must be a small improvement. Focus on VFM, viral for me. Viral for me. And then two more things before we open it up for Q&A. First, I wanted to share with you how I create so many reels in such a short amount of time. Is that cool with everyone? You can let me know in the chat if that's cool, if you want me to share how I can create usually about 20 reels in an hour, which I'm probably going to have to do today because I haven't created reels in about 3 weeks and I'm running low. So it's time to take a shower, to get dressed up real good, and then recreate some reels. All right. Let me know in the chat if you have heard of batch producing content. You've heard of batch producing content. Yes. That's not what I do. That's not what I do. And if that works for you, that's awesome. Go ahead and keep doing it. But that's not what I do. That's not what works for me. Batch producing content means basically creating a bunch of content at once. It's like creating a batch of cookies at once. Then you can eat the cookies for the next few days. That's what batch producing content is. That's not how I create content. Because for me, batch producing content, just like making a batch of cookies, it's too many steps all at once. I got to make the dough. I got to get the chocolate chips. I got to pour them in. I got to mix it. I got to scoop them and not eat all the raw cookie dough. Then I got to preheat the oven. I probably should have started that earlier. And I got to scoop them onto the tray. I got to put it in the tray. I got to set the timer. That's too many steps all at once. Maybe for you, batch producing content works and you can handle all those steps all at once. Personally, I know I can't, and I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time to do all those steps all at once. And with creating content on social media, creating reels for your Instagram, there's a lot of steps to do all at once. So instead, I don't do them all at once. I break them down into the smallest chunks that I possibly can. I call it chunk producing content. So instead of batch producing, we're chunk producing. And here is the 5 steps that I do in chunk producing. And these are literally broken down, not just into different times, but different days. Here are the 5 steps. Number 1, I just save the sounds. I save the sounds I want to use. I don't know how I will use them. I don't know how they will apply to my niche. I literally just scroll through Instagram with intention. I'm not just mindlessly scrolling. I'm scrolling with intention. I'm using Instagram like a business owner would use any other business tool. I'm saving sounds. I don't know how I'll use them yet. I don't know if I'll use them yet. I don't know how they will relate to my niche. I don't know what text I'm going to add. I don't know what words I'm going to add. I don't even care if they're trending. I literally just save any sound that I haven't heard before. That's basically exactly what I do is I save any sound I haven't heard before. Save, 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 save. That saves them into a playlist on Instagram, a special little section, which I can later go back and access. So I save all of the sounds. That's the first thing I do. Then at another time, like I'm going to do later today, once I've taken a shower, my hair and makeup is done, I got a fresh t-shirt on, I brush my teeth, then I record the clips and I save them. I make sure to save them. I record them and I save them because if I record them and I don't save them, what's the point? You got to save them, right? If you just record them, they're gone in the wind. So I record and save. But as it says in that parentheses, I do not edit. So I go through all these sounds and I just record. I just have a bunch of clips of myself lip syncing with these different audios, doing the different movements, speaking whatever it is I need to speak, but I'm not editing yet. I'm not adding the closed caption that we talked about earlier. I'm not adding the text that we talked about earlier. I'm just simply recording. And I think what's important to note here is that there's different mindsets for content creating, right? Like sometimes you're in that creative mindset where you can like really write a great caption. Sometimes you're like feeling confident, you're feeling good, you just had your second cup of coffee, you got a little bit of energy and you're like, okay, I'm going to record some reels. Well, that's a different mindset than, okay, I'm going to write a caption. And that's probably a different mind space and headspace to be in than I'm thinking about my ideal audience and I'm really empathizing with that ideal customer and client right now. I'm in their head. Those are all different mind spaces. So don't try to occupy all of those at once and create your content from start to finish in one sitting. Create them in different chunks over different days. So that's the second thing I do is I record and I save. Then at a later date, when I'm sitting around watching Netflix or when it's a commercial break or I'm just, sitting in those boring, mundane moments of life, I'll edit the videos. I'll come up with the text. I'll add the closed captioning. I'll figure out how I'm going to make this clip from The Office, how I'm going to make that soundbite relate to my niche. Then at another time, when it's actually time to post, then I'll write the caption. Then I'll figure out, okay, how am I going to use this? Is there going to be a call to action? Am I going to teach a little bit more in the caption? Am I going to tell a story? Well, what's the caption going to say? And then I post. So I break that batch producing process that so many of us are so familiar with into smaller chunks. That way, so when I say I create 20 reels in an hour, I'm not doing step 1 through 5 in an hour, which is probably what you thought. That's overwhelming. That's way too much to do in an hour. In 1 hour, I just record the clips. I create them. Record the 20 reels in an hour. Then in another time, I'll edit them one by one, and I'll write the captions one by one. Break it down into the smallest chunks possible. All right, 2 minutes left. I promise we're going to open it up for Q&A in just a second, but I have a question first before we finish this bad boy up. What should you focus on? I saw someone say it earlier. What should you focus on Instagram? Should it be quantity or quality? Let me know in the chat. Quantity or quality? A lot of people saying quality. Wrong. If you're saying quality, you're wrong. And let me explain why. That was a little bit of a trick question. I also set you up with the way I said it. I said quantity or quality. I set you up with that one. Sorry for tricking you. Let me explain what I mean. And I said your focus should be on quantity. Quantity. And here is why. When you focus on quality, it's a slippery slope towards perfectionism. It's a slippery slope towards never posting at all because the posts just aren't good enough. It's frustrating. It leads to burnout and overwhelm because you're so focused on producing A+ content and you just bang your head against the wall. You're spending hours in Canva and you're watching all these Reels videos on YouTube and you're trying to figure it out and you're trying to do the transitions and the wigs and the hair flips and the everything and the dancing and you post it and it's crickets. It's frustrating. You're like, I worked for 3 hours on this reel. This reel was a perfect reel and it flopped. Focusing on quality would be great if that meant that we were all just going to come up with quality content. But really what focusing on quality does is it leads to perfectionism. And listen, I've been there. I'm a recovering perfectionist myself. I've been there. I know what it's like. I'm not saying to throw quality out the window. I'm not saying to abandon quality altogether. I'm not saying forget quality and post crap. I mean, we spent the last hour talking about how to not post crap, right? Like we spent the last hour talking about how to create quality content, but your focus should be on quantity. Let me explain a little bit more why. Quantity breeds quality. So if you want to post better content, post more content. If you want to be a better basketball player, you don't try to shoot a perfect shot. You play more basketball. If you want to be an amazing piano player, you play the piano more. You play the piano crappy for 14 years. And then finally you're like, hey, I'm getting better. Every single post is not an opportunity to be perfect. Every single post is an opportunity to practice, to get a little bit better, to experiment. Not every post will go viral. Not every post will go VFM. Not every post will do great. Even the ones that you think are great, even the ones that you think are perfect. Here's the other truth. C's get degrees. C's get degrees. And what that means is, what I mean by saying that is that C's are good enough. Stop trying to produce A+ level content, top tier, elite, mind-blowing content. Instead, just start aiming for good enough. You're capable of that. You're capable of good enough. You can do that. You can post good enough content. You can post a lot of good enough content. You can crank out good enough content all day long. Trying to create perfect content, that's what takes days or weeks. That's what leads to never posting. And to just conclude this whole thought, the reason this matters is that the more you post, the more you grow. Countless studies have shown no matter what niche you're in, no matter what audience you have, no matter what social media you're on, I don't care if you're on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, the more you post, the more you grow. So stop trying to make perfect posts. Stop trying to hit a home run with every single swing and just start getting on base. Start practicing. C's get degrees. Start aiming for good enough. I promise you're capable of that, and I promise you can do that. Sarah, I'd love to open it up for some Q&A now.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
I can speak hopefully for everyone. The perfectionism issue with Reels has really held me back. And I mean, you could said it perfectly. So thank you for that. Does anyone have any specific questions? Maybe we have time for like 3 or 4 at most. I think Sherry had a question regarding clothing. Is it, do we need to worry about changing our clothing for our chunk?
Yeah, so great question. I do recommend having a few outfit changes when you're batch producing content, because if I'm to consistently post 7 days in a row and I'm wearing this t-shirt in every single post, people are going to start to think that they've already seen it. People are going to be like, oh, I already saw this reel, and they're just going to ignore it. They're going to skip right over it. It also adds some variety, which can increase people's attention and engagement. It's not necessary. Again, I'd rather have you post every single day wearing the exact same thing for a year than not post at all. But when you are chunking your reels and you're recording them, just bring a hoodie, bring a couple extra t-shirts, bring a quick outfit change that you can quickly swap between, just because it makes it look like they were recorded at different times and on different days.
Okay, I'm going to jump in here because I like this one question. I don't know if you have 2 niches, say one business, like for me, I do business and kind of like grieving parents type thing. Do you need to pick one or the other?
I think that ultimately you have a few options. Number one, if your niches relate to each other, like the person who's going to be interested in one is going to be benefited by the other, then they can stick together. You know, if it's like rock climbing tips and supplements for outdoors people, like those things, they relate to each other. Those can exist on one account. If you do have 2 separate niches that do not mesh together, like they're different. They're not going to, one person who is in one niche isn't going to relate or understand or benefit from the other one. Either 2 separate accounts or just pick one and stick with one. Cool.
There's some questions in the chat if you want to scroll. Maybe I answer one more.
I can answer this one. Does length of the reel matter? Generally speaking, the most viral reels are about 7 seconds long. Spoiler alert, the human attention span is about 7 seconds long. So that makes sense. The average viral reel is 7 seconds, but that doesn't mean you have to stick to 7 seconds. Again, I want people to focus more on posting rather than sticking in that 7-second window. If you have to take 60 seconds, you can do so. So absolutely, just 7 seconds is the number, but focus more on the value, focus more on posting and creating than sticking to that hard and fast number.
Awesome.
Here's a good one. So if you're being really consistent, but then you miss a day, how set back are you?
You're not set back as long as you don't miss the next day, as long as you don't miss the next day, as long as that one day doesn't turn into a week and a month. If you miss a day, just come back the next day. That's all you can do at that point. So just come back the next day. Even if you miss a month, even if you miss a year, just start posting again regularly. The more consistent you can be, the better, but it's not an all or nothing thing. If you miss a day, you miss a day. Just pick it up the next day.
Awesome.
And then do you suggest using a photo cover for reels or?
It doesn't make much of a difference. Less than 3% of the people who ever see your reel will ever even see the cover. The reel really doesn't make much of a difference. And I will say this as well, while we are on the topic, because most likely this question comes from people who are thinking about the way their grid looks, thinking about the way their profile presents. Having a pretty, aesthetically pleasing, perfect profile doesn't matter. And in fact, having one of those checkerboard profiles where every single photo looks the exact same, it's got the same hues and the same filters and the same colors, that can be shown to even drive people away, because that can come across as inauthentic or inorganic. That can come across as not real life. And so while 4 or 5 years ago, that used to draw a lot of people in, now it might even be driving some people away. So your profile, your photos and pictures and the covers of your reels that show up in your profile grid, those have some value and they should look presentable. It shouldn't look like a random blurry mess of screenshots from your camera roll, but it doesn't have to look perfected. And I don't want people to spend time agonizing and stressing over the way their profile grid looks. I think it's much more important the value you provide rather than the vanity of your profile page. All that to just say, not many people are going to see the cover of your reels, so they don't make a huge difference.
All right. Well, thank you. I think that's all the time we have, you guys. If you're not already following Brock Johnson on Instagram, you need to be, because he's incredible. And I thank you again so much for your time. This was incredible. I got amazing tips and I'm ready to go chunk produce.
Let's do it. Awesome. I love that. Thank you so much, Sarah, for having me. Thank you, Katie. Thank you everyone so much for hopping on. I don't know if you're watching in the morning, middle of the day, evening, or night, but I appreciate you taking the time to invest in yourself and learn and grow and hang out with me. So thank you so much for having me, and thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.